All right. Hello and welcome in, everyone. We're so excited to have you here for our first week of Spring Career Quest. Thank you so much for joining us for today's session with Randolph-Brooks Federal Credit Union, also known as RBFCU, one of Texas's leading credit unions. My name is Hong Nguyen, and I'm a part of the Careers and Professional Development team here at WGU. And today I'm so excited to introduce RBFCU. They're here to talk about a wide range of career opportunities that they offer, from member services to IT, finance, and business operation. What all ties these paths together is RBFCU's strong focus on purpose, people, and growth. We're so honored to be joined by their team today, Glenn, Aisa, and Melissa. They'll share their experience, insight, and what it's like to work in a value-driven organization. It's been such a pleasure collaborating here with Glenn. And so with that, I'll hand it over to the RBFCU team.
Hong, thank you so much. We truly appreciate WGU and the relationship that we've established over the past couple of years. I know that we've had a couple fun presentations, couple fun meetings putting this on and game planning for this. We cannot thank you enough for giving us an opportunity to meet and talk and collaborate with your students as we continue to grow in Texas, but specifically to grow in the Dallas-Fort Worth region. So thank you again for the opportunity. And also, I just want to say thank you to all of the students and the WGU alum who are joining us to learn a little bit more about what's behind the star of RBFCU and the growing career opportunities and internships that we have as well. Here at RBFCU, I'm Glenn Erhold. I'm part of the HR events team. I'm out of the San Antonio Live Oak headquarters for RBFCU. But joining us, we have our friends from across Texas, the regional vice president in the Dallas region, and she's going to introduce herself as well. And then also a member of the HR team here in San Antonio, Aisa. So with that, again, thank you, WGU. Thank you for the students. And Melissa, if you could please introduce yourself as well.
Sure. Thank you, Glenn. My name is Melissa Woodworth. I'm the Regional Vice President for DFW. There's actually two of us up here now because we are expanding and growing so quickly. I needed more than one of me. So I currently oversee the Collin County branches, and then my counterpart oversees the Tarrant County branches. But I've been with the company for over 18 years. And I started in the San Antonio market. And what I love about RBFCU is that you really, really can grow with the company. I started as a teller, worked my way into management, and then eventually they said, hey, we'd like to expand in the Dallas market. Would you be interested in moving there and helping us grow? So since 2014, I have been living in the Dallas market. Now 11 years, which is longer than I actually lived in San Antonio. And I've seen this market grow from 3 original branches to now 9 this summer. And we have land for almost 9 more already. And right now, as we speak, as we're doing this presentation today, my senior vice president is in town driving around looking at all the new properties that we own. So it's really, really exciting to see how much we've grown.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate it. And thank you again for joining us. In addition, I'm a part of the HR events team who has been part of our team for 3 years. It seems like just yesterday she joined us. Aisa, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi. Excuse me. Hi, everybody. My name is Aisa Simmons. I am, as Glenn said, the other part of the HR events team. So together we get to travel around Texas and virtually travel all to y'all's homes to tell you, sorry, I'm drinking matcha and it got caught in my throat, to tell you all about the awesome opportunities at RBFCU. So I have been at RBFCU about 6.5 years. I started in our business development department in our South Austin region, and then I joined Glenn, and we get to travel all around from Dallas, Fort Worth to Corpus Christi to, like I said, virtually telling everyone about RBFCU and how passionate we are about how great of a place to work it is. And so all 3 of us have amazing stories to share about our experiences at RBFCU and why we would never work anywhere else. So we are just very excited to share with you guys about why we are so passionate about this organization and how we're growing and how there's really exciting things to come career-wise.
Thank you, Aisa. Appreciate that. As I was thinking about it as we were going through and listening to your presentations, I'm curious for those that are joining us today. First, have you ever heard about RBFCU? Hopefully you have. That's why you're joining us. But have you seen any of our billboards, any of our marketing advertising campaigns, if you will, that we have in the Dallas-Fort Worth region? So if you could just in the chat, just let us know how you know us, that would be fantastic. But also our goal at the end of this is if you've seen us, if you've heard about us, our goal is for you to better understand RBFCU, to know us better, but also to know the growth that we're experiencing in Dallas, but also to know us as far as the culture that we offer. And so with that, just a little bit of introduction. Now that you know us, we want you to better know RBFCU. So as Hong indicated, Randolph-Brooks Federal Credit Union today is the largest credit union in the state of Texas. We have more than tripled in size, probably in the last 10 years. And I know in 2020, many of us were hit with COVID, and COVID was here, and it was part of what happened, if you will, in 2020. But just before 2020 is when we became the largest credit union in the state of Texas. And I think many of us were uncertain what that meant moving forward. But for us, it meant our continued commitment to the community, to the colleges and universities that we work with, but also to our members. And with that, we have almost doubled since 2020. When I mean doubled, the assets that we have under management, we're probably much closer to $20 billion in assets, but we hit $10 billion in assets in 2020. So it took us 70 years to get to 10 billion, and just short 5 years, if you will, to double, to get to almost 20 billion in assets. We still have a little work to do, but again, we are strong, we're stable and growing. From our beginnings, one of the things that RBFC focused on is helping communities, underserved communities through the San Antonio area. More specifically, it was a military credit union, but we were established because of some of the challenges that military members faced when getting car loans and home loans and commercial loans, things of that nature. And so 9 service members contributed $5 a piece, $45. That was the initial investment into RBFCU. Our first branch was on Randolph Air Force Base, but we very quickly merged with another credit union. Well, actually helped to establish another credit union, Brooks Credit Union. And because of our close relationship, we ultimately merged and it became Randolph-Brooks Federal Credit Union. The growth maintained strong throughout the years. We faced several different challenges. One of the stories I like to tell is about a year into the establishment of RBFCU, our headquarters burned down. We pretty much lost everything, but it was because of the things that we had done in that first year. Our members sort of helped us to get back on track, picked us up, and knew that it was something that we needed to do. And so we moved forward. And so from just Randolph Air Force Base to Brooks, we started opening branches in some of the communities where most of our members lived, New Braunfels and Bernie and throughout the Texas Hill Country, if you will. And then we merged with a credit union and we started opening branches in the Austin market. So that continued for many years. Today, we are in San Antonio, we're in Austin, we're in Dallas, we're in Plano, we're in Frisco, we're in Allen, we're in Bedford, we're in now coming up in some of the other branches. And Melissa will cover that a little bit later. But as you can tell, the growth has continued. When I started 15 years ago, we had about 21 branches. Today, we're right at about 70 branches with several new branches on the horizon. So as you can tell, the growth at RBFCU has been pretty significant. Why grow? Because there's a need for our services. So typically, about 20 years ago, the only way to be a member of RBFCU is typically you had to work on a military base. You had to be in the military. And as our membership somewhat leveled off, we were growing, but not at the rate I think we wanted to, so we could help others. And as we opened these branches throughout the communities, primarily in the San Antonio and Austin communities, we would get requests. And the request was, what does it take to be a member? How can I be a member? I want to take advantage of, your wonderful checking and savings accounts, your debit cards, your competitive rates and loans. And so ultimately the decision was made to update, change the charter of RBFCU to support communities underserved by financial institutions. That's been the catalyst of the growth of RBFCU into the areas. From a few ways to be a member, I think the number that I've heard is well over 3,000 ways now individuals can be members of RBFCU. So our members are the owners, and we work for them to support their needs, but also the needs of the community. One of the things that I've been so grateful to support at RBFCU is how we connect with many of the charitable organizations that need help. I call it the caring culture of RBFCU, and I'm going to apologize, but maybe I'm not going to apologize because it's part of what we do. It's part of what we care about. It's part of sort of what we think about every day when we go into communities. Aisa and myself are fortunate that we get a chance to go to colleges and universities throughout the state of Texas to talk about the wonderful career opportunities. So again, I started 15 years ago, 20 branches, now almost at 70. About 500 employees today, 2,436 employees. Now, the neat thing about the growth, and that's one of the things I'm extremely excited about, is when we have grown, we have added many more types of roles and responsibilities at RBFCU. So instead of branch operations, we have a wonderful back office in Live Oak, Texas, where we have a wonderful headquarters, 3 buildings today. In those buildings, we have wonderful amenities for our employees. But with that growth, we have experienced significant different categories of employment opportunities, career opportunities, from branch operations to consumer lending to mortgage. We have an investment company, an insurance company, a title company, a mortgage company. But also now we're incorporating data analytics, we're incorporating cybersecurity, we're incorporating web development, investment opportunities, career, consumer lending, branch operations. So there's so many different types of roles and responsibilities that we offer today. So I believe our future is bright. And I know that our employees, when they start with us, they typically stay with us. And we'll talk a little bit more about the benefits that we offer. So again, RBFCU over the past 70 plus years has continued to move forward to grow its membership. And in fact, one of the milestones that we hit just before COVID is we hit 1 million members, 1 million members, which is a milestone within credit unions. And that number continues to grow, and we hope it continues to grow in the Dallas market. Again, strong, stable, and growing in the San Antonio, Texas region, but also significant opportunities that we'll see coming in the future in the Dallas market. So with that, that's the past, the present, and the future. And the future is going to be about the growth. But one of the things we want to do is talk a little bit more about the careers, but I'm going to ask Aisa to talk a little bit about our internship program that we have now, that we've developed over the last several years. We still do have some positions. She'll talk a little bit about that, but also some of our externships, and then we'll get into some of our branch operations. Aisa, will you talk about the internships that we've created and what that looks like for those interested in joining our RBFCU as an intern?
Absolutely. So Glenn and I are so lucky to get to spend our summers with the RBFCU interns. We have a lot of fun. We have a fantastic internship program that Glenn helped to create a few years ago, and it's grown and grown and grown. And this year we are up to, I believe, 25 or 26 interns. So we're very excited about that. And we have internships. They do take place at our San Antonio headquarters in Live Oak, Texas. And then we have one in Corpus Christi. And it is fun, and there are so many different opportunities for many different majors. I mean, we have internships from IT, and not just IT. I mean, you think of it, we have it from web development, cybersecurity, to audit, risk, compliance. I mean, we're adding cybersecurity internships in other departments outside of our cybersecurity department as well. This year we have, I believe, 5 different web development internships. We used to have 1. Now we have 5, one for a different sort of coding and programming language, every single one. So one for Python, one for Java, just very different. And so that is how, I would say intense, but how intricate our internship has grown to be, that we need so many of those students in different areas of RBFCU. I mean, someone has to keep up our amazing website that has all these fantastic applications that are award-winning. We need students to help us work on those and to learn from those. And cybersecurity, we have to be safe. As Glenn said, we have over 1 million members. So people have their whole lives with us, which we're very proud of, but we have to be able to keep their homes, their retirement, their children's college fund, their life savings, their social security numbers, their cars safe. And that's just a little portion. That's just the IT section. I mean, we have finance, accounting, of course. We have marketing. We've had a TikTok internship before. We have a mortgage. This year we have our QSO internship, which is very exciting. It stands for Credit Union Service Organization. So that one's going to cover our QSOs, our investments, our title, our insurance, lots of different areas there. And one of the best parts about the internship is that you can go and shadow as many other departments as you want to. You can data analytics, but you don't know quite where that could fit into a credit union. Well, it can fit into a credit union in almost every department. And so we can show you how that fits in different departments. Maybe you're a little more curious about the audit side of those. We can have you look at that. Everything from card services, collections, facilities, maintenance, purchasing, supply chain. I mean, we have different opportunities outside of just being a financial institution. You can find so many opportunities at RBFCU, and we're very proud of that. The other thing is that Glenn and I do take the interns to volunteer in our community every other Friday. It's very important to the culture of RBFCU. We love to give back. And so every other Friday, we do what we call Intern Day of Giving, and we volunteer lots of different places within the community, from the food bank to an organization in San Antonio called Haven for Hope, which is a transition shelter or transition center to help people get back on their feet. We make food, we serve food, we stock cars, we host a military transition event for people getting out of the military, helping them get jobs and helping them get career ready. And so there are so many opportunities. I mean, RBFCU volunteering is at our core. We love to give back so much that we give each employee 4 hours of volunteer time to use at any sort of organization that really makes their heart happy. I mean, it could be your local animal shelter, your children's school, the hospital, you name it. That's your 4 hours to get paid to go volunteer outside of your team building time with your team, wherever you're passionate about. And so we really want interns to walk away knowing about how important giving back is to RBFCU. And so, Glenn,
can you tell us,
Glenn?
is it compensated? Can you tell us about the benefits and maybe the compensation for the internship program?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I forgot about the best part. It is a paid internship. You will get paid from your first day of hire, as well as full-time benefits. So we do part-time and full-time internships. Every intern makes $20 an hour, and full-time benefits from the day you're hired. Even for part-time employees, that's for all of our BFCU, whether it's internship, whether it's part-time in our branches, part-time, full-time, everyone receives full-time benefits from your first day of hire. So medical, vision, dental, PTO, 401k, all of that is included. And as an intern, that 6-month period starts where there are 6 months until you are eligible to receive tuition reimbursement. I always love to preach that to our students, because students might, want to go back for a master's degree, keep continuing their education. I myself used that and got my master's degree almost completely paid for by RBFCU, which was amazing, beautiful. It's amazing to graduate college debt free. And so there are so many amazing benefits at RBFCU that you are able to receive as an intern. So like I said, health, medical, dental, and our award-winning fantastic people.
So we've never hired a WGU student, have we? From our intern, have we ever done that? Yeah,
we have actually almost every summer. 2 that I can think of right now are Cora, who graduated a couple years ago. She is in our IT department. She actually went from desktop to support to a different IT department, so she's already been promoted a few times. And then Anthony Marino, who was a very interesting case. He came to Texas. He was a biology major and he was going to WGU online pursuing a business degree because he didn't really know what he wanted to do and he was having trouble finding a job in biology. When we met him, he had been in Texas 2 weeks. He had just moved from Chicago and he had an open mind and he wanted to learn something new, and he had a great attitude about wanting to learn about RBFCU, and he had heard great things from a family member he had living in Texas. And he came to our card services department while he was a WGU student. And he learned all about our card services department, excelled, and was able to get hired on after his internship program as a full-time employee, take advantage of those that tuition reimbursement, and eventually made the pivot into our audit department and is now one of our senior internal auditors. And so he is an amazing story because he's moved up very fast in the past few years. And so those are two of our awesome WG graduates. And we have WG interns almost every summer. And like I said, they've gone on to do great things at RBFCU. We're very proud of them.
Fantastic. Absolutely. So as those that are participating in this program, you can see the relationship is there. So another reason why we are excited to work with Hong and talk about career opportunities, because we have employees that are currently attending WGU. And then because we're so dedicated and passionate about our own internship program, the fact that we've had interns who attended WGU flourish here at RBFCU. Thank you for that. How about the externship? Why don't you cover a little bit about the externship program that we also offer towards the end of the year?
Absolutely. So every October, we host an RBFCU externship on our campus. We call it our campus, our headquarters building in Live. We invite colleges who want to come out, had them come so far, never all the way from Dallas, but it could happen. But we've had Corpus Christi, Kingsville come up. We've had all the way from North Austin and Georgetown come down to our Live Oak headquarters. It's a very convenient location if anyone's familiar with the area off I-35 and 1604. So no going all the way into the city or anything like that. But basically, it is a day where we invite different schools to come out and faculty as well. And you're going to learn about RBFCU. It's a look behind the star. We're going to give you a tour. We are going to introduce you to some of the different departments we have. We're going to, of course, tell you about the internship and things that we look for when you are applying for a job at RBFCU or a career at RBFCU. And then at the latter half of the day, after we feed you lunch, you are going to break off into groups with students that you don't know from other schools and get started on coming up with a project for the afternoon where you are going to have to think of a product or service or business idea with your group to pitch to our RBFCU Shark Tank panel for hypothetical fake money. But everyone has to speak. Everyone has a part, and you need to come up with, in just a few hours, a CEO, a CFO, a chief marketing officer, a chief risk officer, someone to do your data, IT, how's it going to be secure? And then you're going to pitch for money and why is your idea the best? And you need to have the whole presentation. They're going to judge you and they're going to ask questions, and then there'll be winners and prizes at the end. But it's a fun day. It's a great networking opportunity. It's an awesome opportunity to just learn about RBFCU. Come see us and be exposed to lots of different departments and a tour of our building in just one afternoon, and leave with a lot of LinkedIn connections as well, from professors from other universities to RBFCU staff members to students at other schools. I know a lot of students usually connect over their experience. Maybe they're looking for grad school at another school and they talk about their experiences. And so it's a great day. We've even had a student before, I think, who didn't have a LinkedIn come in, and they had a LinkedIn and then they had 20 connections by the end of that day. And so it's just an awesome learning opportunity. I believe it's October 17th, Glenn, if I'm correct. October 17th, Friday. It's always one of the last Fridays in October. We do it every year. And so we always encourage students and faculty to come out to our program. And I believe Handshake is where we usually have signups. So that'll be open towards September.
And we definitely have had WGU students who have participated in the event. And again, it's a great way for you to network and build your network to better understand, the types of employment opportunities, careers that we offer. But also, it's a great opportunity to add that to your resume. And we do hope it helps you to get that second look, if you will. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get towards the end. So that sort of talks about the internships. It talks about our externship. I do want to make one comment about the externship. This is something that actually came out of COVID, because during COVID we couldn't host our internships. So the thought about it was, how can we get to the students? And so we worked closely with our colleges and universities. WGU was part of that. They helped to promote the program. So we offered a virtual externship in the middle of COVID but we also work with 3 other employers in the San Antonio area. And they had a series of externships where some of the students actually got credit for participating in the externship that went towards their internship requirements, so they continue to graduate. So we're excited about doing that, and we decided to keep it moving forward. It is open to all college students. So a freshman, a junior, a sophomore, a senior, an international student. It's open to any student who wants to build their network, learn about a growing financial institution, and then also sort of build their network with other students. I think it's a wonderful event that we'll continue to offer. And hopefully some of the WG students can join us. As we transition from our internships and externships, we do want to talk and focus now on the Dallas region, the growth that we're experiencing in the Dallas region. And one of the reasons, one of the things that we believe is important to RBFCU is not only the culture, obviously, but one of the things is why individuals would want to attend our internships. Isa talked about the benefits, talked about the compensation. We are very competitive when it comes to both. But the benefits at RBFCU are things that we really do appreciate. And I'd like to share just a little bit about that. So at RBFCU, from day one, we offer medical, dental, and vision. There is also a matching of a 2-for-1 match. But for those that are joining us, what sort of matching do you believe that RBFCU provides? I'm just curious if anybody is aware of what our matching is. So how much, if you contribute to your 401k plan, would or does RBFCU put on top of it? So if you could put in the chat what your thoughts are for our contribution to your 401k plan. Again, we do have a matching, but day one of employment, medical, dental, and vision, we have a matching for our 401k plan. We have significant paid time off. So by the end of the first year, if you didn't take any vacation, you would have earned about 22 and a half days. That's a little over 4.5 weeks. When you think about it, that's a lot of time. I don't know that I've ever used 4.5 weeks of vacation, but if you don't use it, you absolutely do not lose it. It rolls over. You can accrue up to 600 hours in your paid time off. If you decide you want to use some of it, you can. If you want to cash some of it in, you absolutely can. So again, a significant amount of paid time off. If you're here longer, you get more time off, and it becomes more difficult to use. But one of the other things that's important to us is health and wellness. So we do have a health and wellness program. You can volunteer to do biometric screening. You can see how things are, how your health is. If you meet a certain baseline range, if you will, then you get a discount on your already low health and wellness premiums, if you will. And then if you don't meet this range, then one of the things that Isa and I have a chance to do is we support health and wellness activities throughout the state of Texas, 5Ks, corporate cup fitness events, rock and roll marathon, San Antonio marathon, the Cap 10K in Austin. In the Dallas region, there's Jingle Bell 5Ks, there's a turkey trot. There's so many different events that we offer to our employees who participate. They get points for participating. We pay the cost for their entry fee. And then if they meet the certain level that they need, point system, if you will, then they'll also receive their discount on their healthcare premiums. Health and wellness is critical to RBFCU. I think it's so important because I know through this program that we offer all of our employees, it does talk about the culture of RBFCU, our commitment to our employees and members. But we know this health and wellness program has saved lives. So again, another wonderful benefit that we offer. But again, the benefits are significant. Let's see, did anybody put what our matching is? Hong, did you see that?
They're a little low, Glenn. They're a little low.
A little low. So with that, so from day one, if you decide you want to start contributing to your 401k plan, if you put in, now the national average is only 3%. That means employers, if you as an employee put in 3%, employers will match you with 3%. That's the national average. But at RBFCU, I love this one. Vincent says 6% would be nice. Vincent, you're going to be very pleased with what I have to share with you then. So at RBFCU, if you put in 4%, RBFC will put in another 8% on top of your 4. It's a 2-for-1 match. It's a 200% match. Vincent, if you do put in 6%, RBFC will put in another 10% on top of your 6. Now, anything that an employer puts in or matches in your 401k plan, that's fantastic. We'll never talk negatively about that. We think it's fantastic. We're fortunate, though, that we're able to contribute to the retirement of our employees. There is a vesting period, if you will, but very few employers are able to exceed the contributions of their employees. So again, if you put in 4%, RBFC will put in another 8. If you put in 6%, RBFCU will put in another 10. Aisha said something also, and I want to make note of that, is we do at times have part-time positions available at some of our branches and member services and call centers. Part-time employees receive, and Aisha mentioned this, full-time benefits. Part-time employees receive full-time benefits for almost everything. The only thing is obviously the number of paid time off days that you get. But that is something that we also looked at during COVID when we knew there was so much need. The decision was made to offer our part-time employees full-time benefits. So again, you've heard about our internship, our externship, the benefits that we offer, a little history of RBFCU. Now let's talk about the growth of RBFCU in the Dallas market, how we look to double the footprint that we have in the Dallas market. With that, again, excited to introduce our Regional Vice President. Melissa, can you talk a little bit about the growth that we've experienced and how you have helped the management manage it, and then also what we can look for in the future?
Yes, absolutely. So when we first put our feet down in Dallas in 2014, we immediately committed to build 3 locations at that time. It was Frisco, Plano, and Allen. They all opened right around the same time, and Glenn came up here for the recruiting process, and I got to be part of those interviews as well. We did 2 full straight days of interviews and recruiting of local employees from this area, people who know this area, and we hired our initial 18 representatives at that time. We still have most of them here today, which is incredible. Since then, we have obviously expanded our branch network. We have built more locations in McKinney, in Plano, in Bedford, in Keller, and we've accumulated a lot of land. It's called land banking, when we save land for the future. And just a quick little backstory, our prior CEO, whom we loved and adored, just retired last year. And obviously in 2020, when contact was limited and face-to-face interactions were limited, that was not the best time to maybe be expanding a branch network and opening new buildings, right? So we had to put a little pause on things for a while. And then our previous CEO, being the wise and generous leader that he was, said he did not want to make financial decisions for the future CEO that was going to be coming in and taking over. So he didn't want to spend money, right, building all these branches and making that decision for the next leader. And so when our new leader took office, Mr. Sakula, last year, they had a conversation at the executive level, and they said, listen, when we build branches, our membership grows. And every single time we open a new building, the people come. They come to us and they get so excited, and we find more people to serve, and we find more communities that we can make an impact in. So he was like, let's do this thing. So it was really cool that he made a renewed commitment to expand the branch network, because if you think about the way banking has changed, you can do everything from your phone these days, right? You really, really can. And we have members across the globe that use us as their primary financial institution and never step foot in a branch. So we're very realistic that, do you have to walk inside of a building to do business? No, absolutely not. But you know what? People still want to. They still want to come and talk with us. And there is something special that happens when people walk into an office and you get to have a real life face-to-face conversation with them. They want that. And so our commitment to growing our branch network has been revived, and we've got the support of the board of directors and the support of the executive team. So right now in DFW, we are about to open our 9th location this summer. We're opening Garland in June and the Colony in July, and we are set to close on several more. So we have accumulated, I'm going to try to remember all of these, but we've accumulated Grand Prairie. We own that land. We've accumulated Duncanville. We own that land. We've accumulated Corinth. We're working on Anna. We're working on Mesquite. We have closed on Forney. So when you take a look at the Metroplex, for those of you that are not local, Dallas and Fort Worth are not the same thing. They are two separate cities. And even though they consider us one Metroplex, just to put things in perspective, the population of Fort Worth exceeded the population of Austin last year.
Wow.
So that means the city of Fort Worth is bigger than the city of Austin, and that is only 1/3 of our Metroplex. That's how big this community is. And we're starting to recognize the areas of town where we know we can really make a difference. And those are underserved communities. Oh, I left one off, Glenn. Oak Cliff, which is South Dallas.
Okay.
And that community has a great need for access to financial products and financial services. Beyond the branch network, though, for those of you who like to be back office and do things behind the scenes, we have 50 employees that live in Dallas that actually work for our headquarters. So they work in IT, they work in HR. We have a learning and development instructor who is on video most of the time, but also comes and teaches classes in person. I have a mortgage construction person, business lending. They do commercial real estate. We have our business development folks. They're not homeless because they can come to a branch whenever they want, but they live in their car. It's a very interesting work-life balance that they have. We've got 4 of those folks out on the roads every single day, talking to people about RBFCU. I've got people in mortgage, just a little bit of everything. And so what I love about when I talk to new employees is I tell them, you can pretty much be anything you want to be here. If you're in graphic design, we have an entire graphic design team that works for our marketing.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be a heart surgeon, which is very specific, we probably can't accommodate that. We can pretty much accommodate anyone else. And I can tell you, I have so many people on my team that have a specialized degree that came here for a job, and it turned into a passion project for them. So they have a degree in the fine arts and theater, or they have a degree in computer information systems, or they had a degree in biology. And then the next thing you know, they're like, this is where I want to be. I don't ever want to leave this place. This is where I'm supposed to be for the rest of my life. And they really recognize those opportunities. But we're exploding, Glenn. Talk about doubling. We're at 9 right now. They anticipate in the next 5 years we'll be at 18, which is the size of Austin right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So we're excited to support the growth. Aisa and myself have traveled to the Dallas-Fort Worth area several times this year. We've gone to some of the other colleges and universities. We actually attended the WGU Virtual Career Fair. Also, we went to UTD and then also UNT, but we plan on continuing to go up there as well. Aisa, we have a career fair that's coming up as well in August. I want to say it's Global Life, right?
August 7th, yes, at Globe Life Park, the North Texas Career Fair. Awesome career fair. Last year, I think they had 32 or 33,000 participants come out, but hundreds of employers I mean, every single floor of the stadium is just jam-packed with different employers. Glenn and I were in a line almost all the way to the other stadium, the Cowboys Stadium, waiting to get in with all the employers. I mean, it was an awesome event. So many different employers there. And it's easy to follow because they structure each employer by industry. So you don't have to spend hours walking, being like, oh, I can't find what I'm looking for. You know, everyone's by industry. So if you only have a little bit of time, you can find what you're looking for. It is very well put together. I highly recommend everyone, if you're looking for a career, to attend that as well, just to meet some awesome career opportunities out there.
Absolutely. So come see us on August the 7th. We'll be there. We'll have members of Melissa's team out there with us to talk. And again, if you've seen us, you've heard about us, we want you to know us. So please come and visit us at the Career Fair if you can. There was a couple questions in the chat that I wanted to get to. One was, what's the time frame of the internship program? It is a 10 to 12 week program. We give our interns, our departments, a little flexibility when it comes to that. Somebody says it's virtual. Well, we want it to be in person, mostly in person, but it depends on some of the departments. As Melissa indicated, we're growing with some of our hybrid virtual opportunities in the Dallas, Corpus Christi area, if you will. The reason we want it to be in person, if we can, we are looking to establish an internship at some point in the Dallas area, but we want you to connect, engage, to build your brand within RBFCU. Aisa brought it up, to job shadow in so many different areas that we have. But we also want you to come in and experience the amenities that a full-time employee receives here at our corporate headquarters. We have 3 wonderful buildings. Within the building, we have a fitness center. We actually have a clinic with doctors and nurses on campus every day. So if you're not feeling well, you can go see the doctor and the nurse free of charge to our employees. We have several cafes, if you will, within the facilities. We used to have a Starbucks before COVID, but maybe at some point we'll have it back. We have gaming rooms within every department in our newer buildings.
Food trucks multiple times a week.
Food trucks, yes.
I was just going to say that. Don't forget about the food. We don't have the Starbucks, but we have lots of awesome food trucks.
We can enjoy the food trucks now because my biometric screening was done, so I'm good. I can eat again. But also we have gaming rooms every floor in our new building. So video games that we have other recreational. We have pinball machines. We have themed quiet rooms, and I think one of the things that we always get a lot of wonderful comments about on the 5th floor. If you've ever driven by our campus, 5th floor, we have a very engaging employee lounge where you can look over the growth of what's happening in San Antonio and Live Oak. So again, mostly in person, but we have had some hybrid interns. If we have interns in some of the different areas, they do travel to the San Antonio headquarters, Live Oak, San Antonio headquarters, because we want them to meet the other interns, to grow their market, to be involved in some of our RBFCU Day of Givings, and then also some of our career development events that we have. So yes, to answer that question, somebody said, do you look to hire the interns? That's the only reason we have our internship program in place. I will tell you, that's why it was developed. That's why it's been championed by our executive sponsor, which is the Senior Vice President of Human Resources. By the way, she was an intern many, many years ago. That's why she's so committed to the program. Every single year we have hired interns from our internship program except one, and that was 2020. So yes, that's exactly the reason we have it in place. So with that, you've heard about the growth of the Dallas market. We've given you a little insight into the culture and our commitment to the community and what we hope you've learned through this program. I'm pretty confident you'll see even more marketing and an advertisement campaign about or beyond banking, if you will. That's just what we share. So you'll see more of that. Where will you find the employment opportunities? Where can you find job employment opportunities? Obviously, go to the rbfcu.org website. You'll see all of our postings there, but you'll also see all of our positions on Indeed.com. All of our positions, once we post them, automatically go to Indeed.com. You definitely will see positions on LinkedIn. Not all of them, but you will definitely see our positions there. We are strategic with the ones that we post out there. And then handshake. One of the things that you, in fact, to find this event, you probably found it on Handshake. So we'll incorporate that as well in Handshake. And again, do not hesitate to reach out to Melissa, Aisa, or myself. We are all on LinkedIn, and if you decide to apply, you're more than welcome to reach out to us to let us know. Once you apply, we sort of take a step back. Then it's sort of on your own merit, if you will, of what you've applied. So let's help you. Just for a couple minutes, Aisa and I want to give you some interview techniques, application techniques that'll help you, I believe, to get noticed, not just at RBFCU, hopefully at RBFCU, but if you're applying for jobs with other organizations, there's some things that we want you to consider. I'll just say one real quick. If you are applying for a position, an internship with RBFCU, look very closely at the requirements, because a cover letter is, I used to say 100% required. It's 1000% required. And hopefully this event will help you to better understand us, but a cover letter is 100% required. Aisa, very quickly, can you go through the resume, what we think and what we have learned over our time, the importance of a resume, how to create a tailored targeted resume, and what that typically includes? Oh, did I lose you, Aisa?
We might have lost her.
Okay.
I'm back.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, she's back.
Sorry, Glenn, though I missed all I heard is
Oh, no problem.
for the resume.
Absolutely.
Portion?
Can you go over
Yeah.
the key elements that we look for to get the attention of a hiring manager or recruiter for a
Absolutely.
tailored, targeted resume?
Absolutely. So one of the first things we look for is, of course, we want you to have a clear, easy to look at heading at the top with your basic information. You don't need your home address, just the town works for us. Then we would love to see a career objective. So we want you to tell us exactly what you want to do. And so that what we would love to see is the title of the job you're applying for. So let's just see, I have the careers pulled up here. Commercial underwriter is the first one we have listed right now. My career objective is to obtain the role of commercial underwriter at RBFCU. So the name of the role and then where you want to work. That would be first under your header. Next, we want to see a skills section. A skills section is the most important thing that our recruiters look for, because a lot of the jobs you guys are applying for have certain skills. Maybe it has certain language. If you're one of those IT positions, maybe you need Excel, or if you're data analytics. But most importantly, though, that skills section, we're looking for it to match up with the requirements on the job posting. And so, as Glenn always says, it's a quiz. Answer the quiz. The requirements on the job posting are exactly what we want to see in that skills section, and we don't want to see them at the bottom. So if you were to fold your resume in half, whatever is above that fold is the most important information to us on the resume. And so a recruiter, you only have a few seconds there to get their attention. And so you want to make sure that your requirements for the job posting are in that skills section somewhere towards the top. And so those are the most important things we look for. From there, then you would go on with your work experience, your education, and the rest of your resume. But really, those key pieces of information at the top, in that top half of the resume, are the most important, that career objective and that skills section matching the requirement section.
Absolutely. So just to summarize, career objective, position, company, and why, summary of qualifications with all those keywords that are in the job description that those applicant tracking systems are looking for. Copy and paste it, put it at the top of your resume, get the attention of the recruiter at the very top, just like Aisa said. And then we like to see the skills related to position, your wonderful education at WGU, make it stand out. We already have a relationship with you. Then your experience, and then any volunteer work I think is important as well. We think that's a well-rounded resume. More than that, is a tailored, targeted resume to the position and the company you're applying to. Now, the other thing is a tailored, targeted cover letter. Again, with the internship program, it's required, 1000% required. 2 paragraphs we typically recommend. The first paragraph It's all about you. Sell us on you. Sell us on all the wonderful things you've done. Paragraph 2, Aisa, what about paragraph 2? What do you think they should put in paragraph 2 of a cover letter?
We would love to see that you have done your research on RBFCU. So we want you to dazzle us with what you have learned. And it's not anything crazy. I mean, we're just asking you to pull out your phone and look at our homepage for a few seconds. Maybe look at our Instagram page, see what we've done lately. Have we volunteered? I mean, if you look at our homepage, you'll see that we've tripled in size in the past few years, that we are growing, that we've celebrated 1 million members, all sorts of things. We just want to see that you've done some research on this, you've taken time, and you're passionate about wanting to be a part of the RBFCU team.
I love that. So competitive compensation, dazzle us with the research, know us, let us know that you did your homework, because for us, for Melissa, for the rest of the RBFCU team and other recruiters from other company, we believe it shows effort, attitude, and initiative. Effort, attitude, and initiative. There's things that we look for, and that's those things. There's something we can't teach you. We can't teach you effort, attitude, and initiative, but we absolutely are looking for that. We're competitive when it comes to compensation. I think you've got a sense of that as we've gone through the program. I believe we do have world-class benefits, but one of the things that we're committed to, and I truly enjoy every single day, and Melissa and Aisa and others from RBFC will talk about it, it's the culture. It's the caring culture that RBFCU, and that's why we make sure that during the internship program and other events that we go out in the community and we give back to the community.
And
But
Glenn,
oh yes, yeah.
didn't we win some kind of award
I
last
know.
year?
Yeah. Well, I always say, yes, we sure did. We consistently receive, I always say this, don't listen to Melissa, don't listen to Aisa, don't listen to Glenn. Listen to the employees, because as Melissa was referring to, we have been fortunate and humbled to be rated one of the best companies to work for in the United States. In the different regions that we work with, Dallas, Fort Worth, and just here recently, we were rated the #1 company to work for in San Antonio. And the thing that stood out was the culture. But absolutely, thank you. There's a couple questions that, again, going back to the website. Our jobs, when you go to our website, if you see a position that you're interested in, you've got to apply pretty quickly. Our employment opportunities do not stay out there very long, just because we're moving the process forward very quickly and we're growing. In fact, in some of our Dallas region branch opportunities, we're actually offering also sign-on bonuses for those that are applying for those positions and get hired. And as far as, there's a wonderful question, do we hire, is there a military preference? There's not, but I will also tell you that we're extremely committed to the military transition. RBFCU is part of the Joint Base San Antonio Career Employer Alliance. And every year for the last 12 years, we've hosted a military transition program with the Centurion Military Alliance, CMAwarriors.org, where we are also hosting that event this year. Again, July the 24th is my understanding. So we don't have preference, but our preference is to make you as competitive as you possibly can be for employment opportunities. With that, Hong, that concludes our presentation. If there's any other questions that you may have, if somebody wants to ask a question, you can open up the mic. I think we still have a couple minutes, but I do
Yes.
want to say again, thank you for giving us an opportunity to share the RBFCU journey.
Yes, this was so fantastic. Thank you so much, Glenn, Melissa, and Aisa. We have just a couple more minutes for some questions. If you'd like to come off mute, you could raise your hand and we'll pass the mic over, or continue to use the chat. If you do have a question later on, you can always email us and we'll make sure that gets over to the RBFCU team here. Some of these questions, it sounds like they're wondering about upcoming roles or potential roles. Is there a job alert feature that RBFCU offers?
Absolutely. And you can get job alerts in so many different areas. Our website, you can also get it on LinkedIn. So, based on your search criteria, it can come through as well. We're looking to be, we'll continue to add more of our positions on the Handshake platform. It's more of a manual process, but I know Hung and I have talked about, and Melissa, that some of the positions that we're offering in the Dallas-Fort Worth area are not always entry level, but there's more significant roles because they're offering hybrid and virtual. So we'll look to continue to be deliberate in adding those positions. But again, the best place to look, and if so it's interesting. If you see a position you're interested in on our website, apply to it. Sometimes you may see two of the same positions, right? You got to apply to both if they're different requisitions. We can only consider you for those positions you apply to. So please, if you see something, apply today. If you don't, please come back, because as Melissa indicated, the growth in the Dallas area is going to be significant. And our jobs will be out there, and we'll get several applicants as quickly as we possibly can. So that's sort of a little bit of our applicant tracking system process.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Glenn. We'll just give it another minute. If anyone has questions, feel free to throw them in the chat here. And while we wait for those to come through, just a couple of reminders. Oh, we do have a raised hand. Let me go ahead and pass the mic over to you. All right. Avengi, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
That's okay.
But we hear you.
Vinny.
Okay, perfect. Yep, you are on.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. I just had a question. So I'm working on a master's degree for the business administration. If I apply for let's say an entry role within your organization, would I be disqualified if I have like a higher degree as opposed to, let's say, having a bachelor's degree? No, right?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, if you meet the qualifications of the position you're applying to, that's what we're going to look at. We have employees that are currently attending school, if you will, and we're helping to pay for that. What I always say, the job that you get, that first one you get, is your opportunity to get on the path. But at the end of the day, it's your path. And for as many external positions that we have, we also have internal positions available. Here's something you may be interested in. Many companies say that, well, if we hire you at a certain position, that you have to stay within that role 6 months, sometimes even a year, to be considered for other positions. We don't have that requirement. If you were to join RBFCU and you see this wonderful position, maybe it's more in line with what your master's program is in, and it becomes available, why would we not let you apply to it? You have to go through an application process, interview process, but absolutely it is available. Thank you for that question. It really talks about how we have to grow. We want somebody to stay and grow with us. So great question. Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, so we are at time, so we'll go ahead and wrap today's session up. Thank you so much for joining and for the great questions and engagement in the chat. We'll be sending this session recording to you soon, along with that quick survey. And we do have those 2 questions. If you could take some time to complete that, we'd greatly appreciate it. Your feedback helps us build out future events and continue to host great events like these, so we'd love to hear from you. Also, we'd like to extend a big WGU thank you to the team at RBFCU. Glenn, Aisa, and Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your time and insight and experience with us. It's always so inspiring to hear directly from industry leaders about the meaningful work happening in our communities. Your continued collaboration has made such an impact with WGU here, and we look forward to seeing you more at our events and continue our collaboration. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. We hope you have a great rest of your day and continue to sign up for future sessions. And we look forward to seeing you more at these events. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you, Hong. Thank you so much.
Yep, take care.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.